for the story about the spark that had happened the day before and they didn't respond to, but I heard it was maybe quite far away from the ignition points. Do we know anything at this stage that would give us indication around negligence or not?
Well, I think your first point was very well taken, and that is that when you have a standard that has emerged, and the emerged standard here that came out both during the legislative hearings and from also real-world pattern and practices, you switch off power if certain circumstances are met, that will always subject a company to a negligence attack because they made the decision not to switch off power. I mean, it's kind of like once seatbelts became the state of the art within cars, the production of a car without a seatbelt is just stupid. Unfortunately, I mean, really, you have some pity for these utilities because, I mean, at some point, really, they almost should just switch off power and ask questions later. And they'll have a bunch of very upset customers, and they'll have to pay for people's kidney dialysis machines and things like that they screw up. But I mean, the fact that they, chose not to switch off power here, I think is going to subject them to a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah. Okay. And the spark incident, any insight on that?
Yeah, I don't really know that much about that. I mean, that was the email that was circulated, right, pretty recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is. I think it's safe to assume that within a service territory as big as PG&E, there's always going to be something that looks like or could look like a smoking gun. There's always going to be some power pole somewhere that's sparking. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, I think, you're going to have, just like the Tubbs fire, you're going to have a CAL FIRE investigation that lasts a year or 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. And how are the insurers reacting to this? So, they're obviously going to have, they'll have to carry part of the blame because, as happened in the past, they carry the loss. Even if PG&E may or may not be liable, they usually settle at a discount. So, they're carrying part of the pain. In particular, if PG&E may not be financially viable or part of a bankruptcy or whatever, then they'll take even more of a cut. What are they doing about this?
Yeah, so I think that's an important angle that very few people are considering. I don't have any specific intelligence on what the insurance companies are doing, other than they are pushing lawmakers not to buy the investor-owned utility line that we need additional reforms. They are holding the line politically, but from a legal perspective, one of the things that I had questioned last year is, do these insurance companies settle before there's a stress test at the PUC? Obviously, that would profoundly affect, the perceptions of the health of the utility. And here, there was a lot of posturing last year that the insurance companies would not settle for the traditional 50 to 60% that they usually do in big disasters, that they felt more comfortable about their position and that they probably push it more up to 80% or 90% or whatever. Now these companies are facing the decision, do they settle these claims a little faster and for a little less because the utility might go into bankruptcy? And I think the answer to that is yes. I think, if I was general counsel advising one of these insurance companies, I would probably take the money and run.
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear about that posturing on that they wanted to settle higher. In what context was that?
Well, so last year there were a number of analysts and wise guys and people who they went back and they tried to model how much these insurance companies have settled for previous large disasters, right? And the traditional number that everybody comes up with was they usually settle for 50 to 60%. Yeah. But but there was this perception that